So I've mainly worked in the IT and telecoms sector in a range of sales and marketing roles. Most recently, I was the MD of a tech company in Bristol. They provided managed services for organisations with large quantities of mobile devices, mainly in the sectors of retail and supply chain. We would describe these as business purpose devices. So they're mission critical. They typically get used in retail, supply chain. If you have a parcel that's delivered to your door, you need to sign on the screen of one of these devices. If you go shopping, you often see one of these mobile devices used in the store for stock taking or scanning of products. And because they're mission critical, the need for these devices to be working all the time is really important for those customers. When I left the organisation in Bristol, it was right at the start of lockdown 1.0. So I knew walking into another leadership role might take a little bit of time, but I've always had this sort of innate kind of interest in having my own business. And I thought, well, that was my opportunity to start my own thing at that time. So having sat in front of lots of organizations that have these mobile devices, I knew that there was a number of issues that regularly came up that I could create a business around to help solve those problems. So that really gave me the idea of starting this business. So there was reoccurring issues that would come up all of the time around tracking of mobile devices, because they can move around from store to store or from driver to driver. They tend to be harder to know, what have I got and where is it? And then because they are mission critical, if a device isn't working and perhaps you can't deliver the parcel, or you can't book in those goods onto the retail shelf, that's a major problem. So actually the requirement for these devices to be working all the time is so much more important. So therefore, if you can provide some analytics and some data that helps maximize the uptime of these devices and therefore minimize the downtime that these devices may have, then it's a real win solution for the customer. Knowing myself as I do, I am incredibly impatient. And it's certainly one of the things that you have to wrestle with is when you start a business, nothing just happens overnight. Things take a bit of time. So, I was always beating myself up that I wasn't making enough progress each day and each week. So I had to kind of wrestle, I think, with my own impatientness. But also you have to really work on the relentless pursuit of things, because a no today might not mean a no tomorrow. And if you keep that relentless focus on things, that you're going to make progress and you're going to move the business forward in the way that you want to. I think with COVID, there's a trade-off for us. So I haven't got a comparison for pre-COVID, because as I say, we started the business right in lockdown 1.0. But we're selling B2B and we're selling to service providers. So that relationship's really important to build. And I know that those relationships can be built better and stronger when you're face to face. There's only so much that you can do when you've got the odd phone call and the odd Zoom call. So I think there's a trade-off where we've had some limitations in not being able to get out face to face with our customers. We've had a benefit from just the amount of work that you can get done from home and at your desk. So, one day, for example, we had 7 demo calls of our software. I've never been able to do 7 demo calls with customers in one day. If you were doing this face to face. And then setting up a business from scratch, you're wearing lots of different hats. And so the ability to work on so many things in one day is definitely amplified when you're in front of your desk all the time, rather than driving up and down the motorway each day. So I think there's definite positives and negatives that I've seen over the last 12 months. So I've always been interested in what investment might do to help this business. Now, getting investment might make us able to do some decisions that perhaps we would put off. So instead of hiring one salesperson, perhaps we can hire two. We might have some development in our software application that we've got planned for next year. Perhaps we can do it this year. So I think the ability to get investment actually improves and increases the decisions that you can make sooner rather than later. So that's definitely one of the attractions to get into the competition. But I think also those that know me know how competitive I am. And once I got into something called a competition, then it was actually all about winning it. And I was pretty laser focused on making sure that we had the best value proposition and we were going to get the win at the end. Increasingly important as the process went on, because when you spend time talking to Paul and Matt from Worth Capital, you start to realize just how experienced these guys are in startup businesses and similar software companies to this one. So actually getting some mentoring and some support at a leadership level from these guys became very, very important for me as that process went on, and something that I felt was actually going to be more valuable than the investment itself. And then also what I really liked is the SEIS investment. Clearly this is a number of individuals that are investing in a fund and they want a return on investment. So it gets you a little bit more laser focused on shareholder value, building an organization that in 3 to 5 years is going to have some really good inherent value. And I liked that kind of mindset and approach to the business, because it would help us really stay on point with those key things that were important to me as well. Yeah, it's really a no-brainer, I think, because at a minimum level, you're going to be able to work on your messaging, your strategy, and your pitch. So, all those things are a good thing, irrespective of the outcome. And then actually just the process that you go through is really exciting and interesting. There's some really good dialogue and debate that goes into the process. And then ultimately there's the opportunity to get the investment, have someone join the board of your business and add some strategic weight to how the business continues. We're really focused on a number of key milestones this year, because we slightly shortened our first year. So beginning of April, we started our new tax year and our second year as a business. So we're into our Q1. We're already well ahead of plan and where we're expecting to be in the first quarter. So that's a great thing. We brought on 2 new salespeople to the team. So, very KPI driven. They're bringing on some really exciting customers and opportunities. And as a subscription business, it's very much around building more licenses to our base and also getting as much value from the platform as possible. So there's some really good milestones we have around building and continuing to build on that process.